What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a full mix breakdown for you guys from a song that I did the other day. There's two artists on the song, and I'm going to go through the vocal chain, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I went through the compression, the EQ, saturation, everything in between from de-essing, reverb, delay. I'm going to break down the entire chain, and then we're going to talk about the mix bus, how to master the song and get it nice and loud for a radio ready polish. So I have a Pro Tools session pulled up here, and in this session, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the layout of the template for you so you can get an understanding of what's going on. And if you guys want to check this template out all throughout this video, you can find it at mixedbyeddieofficial.com. I'll leave a link in the description below. What I just did was I cleared the print for the mix so I can actually show you guys the actual song. And in this template, you have to turn this little thing on to be able to hear stuff that's actually through here. So I'm going to explain the template. So what we have here is we have a 2-track beat, right? And that 2-track beat is going to an all music track, which is right here. And on the all music track, we have this track spacer. I'll explain that a little bit more in a little bit. And ignore these plugins right here. They're active, but they're not doing anything. So from the all music bus, it goes to the mix bus. So the beat is going pretty much from the all music to mix bus, and then right here's the final for that. So we're not doing too much with the beat. We're trimming it a bit to get it at a nice level, and that's pretty much it. And then we're using a low pass filter to build momentum in the song throughout the song. What I really want to talk about is the lead vocals, right? So I'm going to play a portion of the song right here, and I'm kind of just let you hear what the song sounds like. It's a really aggressive rap song. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each plugin, and I'm going to break down what I did. So let's have a listen first, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in. Me and all my homies chasing the profit, we don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping, got that bitch out here Nicki Minajin'. Bring up the facts, they take them and chop them. They don't know that I went out here and put 100 in the pocket. They heard a lot about the boy, but they don't know that Wapo really is a fucking monster. It's steaming.
So as you can tell, like I said, it's a very aggressive rap song. So we had to be aggressive with the production of the song. So let's go ahead and check out the first plugin inside of this bus. So the first plugin we have is Pro Q4. And what we're using this first Pro Q4 for is to get surgical control of the vocal, right? So we have a roll off here at 114 hertz. At a 18 degree octave, dB octave, not degree, dB octave. We're just getting rid of all that mud that we don't need up under here on this part of the vocal, right? Where all this is. We clear that out. And the way that I like to do that is by running this really far up the spectrum graph and then hearing it get thin and then pulling it back. So like I'll show you that right now.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in. Me and all my homies chasing the profit, we don't got no time to tend.
And that sounds great to me, so that's where I keep it. Okay, so after the low pass filter, we have a low cut here, and basically what we have going on here is it's dynamic. And what I mean by dynamic is it's pulling down whenever it needs to instead of all the time, and I'll explain that more. So instead of pulling this ring down here like this and bringing it down normally, we're pulling it down by the outside ring right here, and what that does is it makes it dynamic. And so if you pay attention when I play it, when the vocal gets too beefy, right, or too like low endy, just like muddy, this is gonna knock it down, and you'll see it right here on this curve. It'll just kind of pull it down, and let's check that out.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in.
Now, depending on the song, you're going to have to do this more or less to get the sound that you want. Just remember that the end goal is to get the sound that you want. So if you don't need a lot of that beefy, like low male stuff, like you can take that out depending on the song. Just be careful. I have a lot pulled out here, over 6 dBs, so just be careful. Now, the next thing is these surgical knots, right? And what these notches are resonant frequencies that are peeking through in the song. So you can hear that one. It's pretty rough, and then I'll just go through these while it's playing, and then yeah.
City, really they don't got an option. You can never. You went outside and you locked in. Me and all my time to tend to these problems. I need my. Bitch out here Nicki Minaj. Bring up the know that I went out here and put 100 in the pocket. They heard a lot about the boy, but they don't know that why. Yeah, I made an option. You can never get.
Okay, so what you're hearing is a bunch of harsh, resonant, and just like muddy, disgusting frequencies. Like this one right here. This would be like a really deep, boomy frequency I don't like. So we take it out the song, right? And then, of course, after all of this surgical cutting, and remember, these are going to be surgical cuts, so not wide. Don't make wide bands. Make them really narrow and sharp, and just get to the point. Get those little frequencies out of the song. If you notice here, further we went up towards the top, I started making them dynamic. I don't want to overly affect the top end throughout the song and make it not crispy and sound good. So I make it dynamic. And then if you like click on this band right here, you'll notice, well, oh, I didn't do anything for that one. Probably this one I did though. Oh, I still didn't. Normally, you would speed this up, make it fast, make the attack and release fast, and then pull the dynamics down and get it only for that one time. But like, it sounds fine, so I didn't do it. But that's normally what you would do, right? So I'll close that. When you make all these cuts, it's going to make the overall sound quieter. So we have to gain match. So I went plus 114. That is just for me. It's going to be different for you guys. But how you do that is bypassing and then kind of like just making sure that it sounds the same volume whenever you unbypass it and you turn it back on. And you do that with every single plugin throughout the entire chain from the beginning. So the next plugin in the chain is EQP1A from Poltech. And I always have this on broad because I saw a video from someone else. I can't remember the channel, or I'll shout them out if I can remember. They showed me this with a graph, like what it does to the vocal. And when you have it on sharp, it makes like this like weird point, and I'm not sure I would like that. So I keep it on broad. And I just boost a little bit just to get a little bit of high end out of the vocal. And I also got a little bit of beefiness coming back into the vocal from what I was cutting out with Pro Q, right around 100 hertz. But this is set to 8,000 kilohertz, and we're boosting around 2 dBs. That's about as much as I'd go for this particular song. Sometimes it goes up to 3 or 4, but I'm not overly boosting. I'm not looking for the final top end polish. We're just getting a little bit. And then we're feeding that into the Universal Audio 1176 undefeated. I was checking out the mix wave Tizios one for a minute, and like I like the way it sounds, but like for the price tag, I don't know if I can justify it. So we're going with this one. Now this one still sounds incredible. It's still an 1176. It's the 1176. You know what I mean? All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna show you how much dBs I'm taking out, and I'll explain the attack and release.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in.
So at max, around 5 to 6 dBs of gain reduction, and all I'm using this compressor for is to catch pretty much the when I get really loud, it's gonna clamp down really fast, and then it's gonna also come back really fast too. It's just to get like the loudest peaks of the transients. So when I say option, and I go, you can never get an option. Like that part right there, that's where it clamps down. And I'll have it on 4 for the ratio, 4 to 1, meaning for every dB it goes over, it's going to turn it down by 4. For real, all you do is you just push this up until you're getting that gain reduction, and then you match the output. Remember, bypass, unbypass. If it's still loud, pull it back. That's how you do that. So for the attack, I have the attack on really, really fast, and I have the release on really, really fast. So basically what I wanted to do is really quickly clamp down on those transients and bring the volume down and level those parts out of the song. We're not doing overall leveling for the entire vocal, just those parts, those peaks. So that's why it's set to fast. If I was not rapping so fast, I would pull it back and slow it down, maybe to 5, maybe to 4. But for this song, we got it fast. And of course, a fast release because you wanted to immediately let go before it's ready to clamp down on the next bar. The next plugin is another instance of Pro Q4. And what we're doing here, this is kind of unnecessary. I just do this sometimes because I have OCD. I'm just like cutting out the mud again from the vocal that we don't want to hear, because sometimes it builds back up with the 1176 and EQP1A. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what this band sounds like. I'm going to tell you why I cut it out.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can.
Like, do I really even have to explain to you why I cut that out? It's like the mud of the song, right? So the first Pro Q4 was for the surgical cut so we could turn it up. This one is to shape the tone of the song. Like, we don't want this nasty boomy, boxy stuff in the song, right?
Yeah, I made them run about the city.
So we pull it out, and I actually have a lot pulled out right now, but I'll show you what that sounds like in a drastic way.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in. Me and all.
Okay, so for the next band here, we made a dynamic band. Remember, that's with the outer ring, and it only clamps down whenever it's peeking through. For this one, this is what it sounds like.
I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an.
And you know, that sounds terrible to me. So around 1.2, we're dynamically cutting that, and we're just making it come down during the harsh parts. And then finally, we have a little bit of control here with the top end with a little bit of a dynamic band. It's barely getting anything.
They don't got.
It's just for that city part, right? It's really harsh. Yeah, that's what I'm doing here. This is just to tonally shape the overall sound of the vocal, and then of course we're doing some makeup gain here to keep the volume at the right level. And then next we're going into the LA2A compressor, and we're getting some overall. So this is a slower compressor. So the first one's really fast, and it can attack those transients. Now this compressor is nice and slow, smooth, and musical. We turn it on, and it's simple too. We turn it on, turn up the peak reduction, and we get, I want like 5 dBs. We'll see what I'm doing in this song. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna play it, and I'll show you what I'm doing.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in. Me and all my homies chasing the profit, we don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping, got that bitch out here Nicki Minajin'.
So at the absolute loudest, maybe -4 dBs of gain reduction. I had to even turn it up a little bit because I thought that was a little low. The reason for this compressor is for the overall sound. So it's really slow, and it doesn't just spring back right away. So it stays compressed, and it kind of holds the whole vocal up and levels everything out. So that's why we have that there. So we're just kind of working through what we need, right? So now that the whole vocal's level using this, the rest of these are cleanup and pretty much just like final polish. So the next plugin is Pro de-ess. This is the greatest de-esser ever. I don't care what nobody says. I love this thing. So let me explain how my de-essing works. Sorry, I got something in my eye. So the way that I de-ess is in 2 sections, right? The first section is between 4.4 to 6.6 kilohertz. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking it's a really, really harsh section. It's like a really crunchy section. I'll show you what that sounds like. So right here, right? And what I'm doing is I'm using a wideband, and I'm just pulling out about 6 dBs at max. It's normally around like -4 dBs, -5, but max -6 dBs, and it's just that's taking care of the sibilance for that part. And then we'll talk about the de-essing again after we get through the rest of these plugins. So that's for this section right here. I de-ess this section over here as well, and I'll explain that in a minute. The next plugin we're gonna run through is Soothe 3. And what I'm doing with Soothe 3 is just getting any sort of like resonant or harsh frequencies that I left in. So on delta mode, we can hear what we're pulling out. So that's pretty much it for Soothe 3. Just getting those a little bit of resonances out of the vocal. Now the next plugin we're using is RVox. Basically what this plugin is doing is it's pulling the vocal just a little bit closer to the front, and that's it. So like it's not doing a whole lot of compression. What it's doing is just pulling the vocal to the front. So I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo.
So the vocal is already pulled really far to the front. This pulled it up just a little bit closer to the front, even more than your face. Just a little 0.5, touching nothing else. Just a little 0.5. And then we're going into Spectre. And what I'm doing here is EQ boosting and saturation at the same time. That's what this plugin does. And so what this is doing is it's parallel saturating the vocals. So whenever I boost this frequency, it's also creating a parallel, and it's saturating the parallel. It's just a really subtle, really nice, really smooth saturation and boost in the vocal. I have de-emphasis on, and mode is on subtle, and quality is on best now, and this is what it sounds like off and on.
Yeah, Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo.
It so delicately takes care of the vocal and just brings it and makes it nice and shimmery and just final polish, perfect. If this plugin doesn't work and for some reason I needed even more like high frequency boosted and stuff like that, I'll pull out fresh air, but this normally does the job. Again, de-essing, and we're using 7.3 to 14.2 kilohertz on a split band and only about 3 dBs of gain reduction. Normally it's around like 1.5 to like 2.5. We're not normally just smashing 3, but this is to get the high end frequency S sounds up out of the song so those don't jump out at you. So I'll show you what that sounds like and I'll show you what's going on over here.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't got an option. You can never get that close.
Now off. Now listen to City.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't.
You hear how City kind of jumps and it's harsh and hissy? We leave it at that. That's a perfect vocal chain. It sounds smooth. It's in your face and strong. And then we throw some reverb, maybe turn it down just a bit, and a little bit of a slap delay. And the slap delay, this is what it sounds like off.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in. Me and all my homies.
And I got the slap delay from Tizio's chain, and it's basically what Chris Brown uses. It is this right here. One sec. This is it's set on ping pong and no modulation, none of that, but filter out the lows and highs and a lot of feedback and just bury it in the back of the song. And it sounds really good. And then again, for the feature, it's the same plugins, just a couple little bit of different nuances and settings for each person. But overall, basically the same. He needed a bit more high end, so I gave it to him. And yeah, it's a really simple chain, but it's a very effective chain. Now, if you notice, the lead vocal bus says it's going to the all leads, so go check out all leads, which is right here. And we have even more stuff happening to the vocal. We have another instance of Suit 3, and this is also getting out more of the frequencies up here, so we'll check that out.
You never get that.
So it's basically just pulling out just like really harsh stuff that we don't need in the song, right? So this is with it off.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the Wapo, even if you went outside and you locked in.
So I think that sounds really good. Then we're setting it through another instance. Oh, we didn't do anything. So we just left it alone. We don't think we need it. And then finally, one more de-esser. 7 to 14 kilohertz on the lead vocal bus. So this is going to get not just my vocals, but it's also going to get the features lead vocals. And this is just shaving off just a teensy, it's even down a little bit, but it's just shaving off a little bit more, catching those last little bit of S sounds that could creep through. That's just like a final protection, right? And then same thing for the all background vocals, which is where these go right here. So like these ad-libs and these ad-libs go to the all background, which would be this right here. And it's the same thing, same settings, no compression, just the same de-essing and this too. So then, of course, both of these go to the all vocals, which is under the all music, which the all music is connected to the beat, right? All music, mix bus. So the vocal bus, these are the vocals. They're going to the vocal bus. The vocal bus is going to the all leads. All leads is going to all vocals. All vocals is going to mix bus. And then we're in the mix bus. I'll show you the plate reverb I'm using for the song. For the main and ad-libs, this is the plate reverb. I use the preset dark plate and I adjust nothing. Maybe turn on a little bit of pre-delay, but whatever. And then we're not using a long haul, but we are using 1/4. So this is 1/4 settings. No ping pong. Just the same basically as the other one, just no ping pong. And then I have this one knob filter, filtering out from like 10 to 7 kilohertz. I'm assuming that's what it is. I'm not sure. I have it cut out from like 7,000 hertz right there. And that's just to push it in the back a little more because it's the ad-libs. And then that's pretty much it. I have width going on here for the ad-libs for these. And basically, actually, I don't even think it's on. Oh, it is on a little bit. And this is what this looks like. I'm using Ozone Imager, and you can just push it up a bit, but this is what happens. It makes it wide. That is the plugin chain. that we just went through. Now let's go ahead and go over the mix bus chain and let's take a look at what I did. The first plugin, BX Digital V3. This is by Brainworks Audio, and basically just taking out some frequencies with this over here. I don't even mess with this, but I do mess with Mono Maker. It makes the song mono, like the low end of the information of the song mono. And then we'll go ahead and listen to the frequencies that I'm cutting out and how much.
Yeah. I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option.
So 2.3 dBs is getting cut from that. Now let's listen to the next one.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option.
About 2 dBs being cut. I would maybe pull that back just a little bit. 1.5 dBs out of from right there. Now another one right here. We'll listen to this one.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option.
I don't think we need to even talk about why I'm pulling that out. I'll probably even pull that out just a teeny bit more. 2.7 dBs on this one. Now the next one is this one. Let's go ahead and listen.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option.
I don't know why that one's even being pulled out, but I would probably back off on that one. Maybe a 0.5 dBs being pulled out right there. And that's about it. And then this one's not being pulled out at all. And that's all we do with this. I go through the EQs, find some bad frequencies, pull them out, and then I hit Mono Maker, and that's it. The next plugin is my favorite plugin on earth. This is Fern VT5. We're cutting out 4 dBs from 500 hertz, which is a lot. We're boosting 60 hertz by about a dB, and we're cutting 30 hertz by about a dB. And then with the high frequency boost, we are doing 16 kilohertz and about 2.5 just to give it shimmer. And then at 28 kilohertz, we're doing a cut for around 4 dBs. And this is what it sounds like off and on.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the WAPO.
It kind of just like hugs everything with the tube and kind of just like makes everything sound incredible. The next plugin is SSL for compression to kind of glue everything together. It should be under 4 dBs of gain reduction. Let's go ahead and check that out.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the WAPO, even if you went outside and you locked in.
Just getting a little bit of compression to hug stuff together. Ratio on 2, attack on 30 milliseconds, release on auto. You know what it is. Sidechain filter set to 80. Then the next plugin here is because this whole song was recorded digitally with no analog gear. I have nothing right now because I don't feel I need it anymore. But we have this set to 15. Could set it to 30. Probably should set it to 30. But I have it on GP9 plus 6. And this just kind of gives it some of that tape sound. It sounds really good.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the WAPO, even if you went outside and you locked in. Me and all my homies chasing the profit. We don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping. Got that bitch out here, Nicki Minajin'.
So that is why we use that. It's called the ATR 102 by Universal Audio. Love that plugin. Now next we're going into Gold Clip, and we're getting a little bit of clipping, just the final peaks of the song, so we can drive it up into the limiters really nicely. So I'll show you what that is happening here. We boosted it by just a teeny bit. And the way that I use this plugin, pay attention. I use this right here to boost it or bring the volume down until I'm seeing about -3 right here. I want the peaks of the song to be hitting about -3. And then I bring the ceiling down to get about no more than, for clipping, I don't want more than a dB being shaved off. So I'll show you what this looks like.
Yeah, I made them run about the city, really, they don't got an option. You can never get that close to the WAPO, even if you went outside and you locked in. Me and all my homies chasing the profit. We don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping. Got that bitch out here, Nicki Minajin'. Bring up the facts, they take them and chop them. They don't know that I went out here and put 100 in the pocket. They heard a lot about the boy, but they don't know that WAPO really is a fucking monster. It's steaming. Yeah.
So basically, for my part of the song, I'm not clipping pretty much at all. And my suspicion is that I'm clipping for his part.
Be nice in a blender, my flow get the shaking shit off of the Richter. Off of the rim with a block, but I'm feeling like Victor. Now they want my picture. Sticking they face in a pisser. Not sipping, I'm facing the liquor. You tripping, I play my position.
So yeah, his verse was a bit louder and a bit harder. That's probably where all the clipping is happening. Like I said, follow those instructions, especially if there's just one person on the song. Also, I would probably go back and maybe try to get the vocals more level so I could clip them both at the same place. But yeah, that's how I do that. This one was a little confusing. Next, we're going into God Particle. I have the amount pulled up a good bit normally than what I would have. Normally it's down by like 30. And we're getting the limiter, getting about 1 dB of gain reduction max. And we don't really mess with these. But yeah, let's go ahead and listen.
The profit, we don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping. Got that bitch out here Nicki Minajin'. Bring up the facts, they take them and chop 'em.
I don't really overthink this plugin. I push it up until it sounds good, and then I push the limiter up until I'm getting a dB, and then I'll go into Pro L2 here, and I'll get another dB at maybe 1.5 dBs of gain reduction most, and oversampling all the way up, true peak limiting on, and this is a bit too much here. I've recently decided that I'm going to start going to 0.3 instead of a whole dB. So that's where I'll be at with that now. And then we'll go ahead and listen.
The profit, we don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping. Got that bitch out here Nicki Minajin'. Bring up the facts, they take them and chop them. They don't know that I went out here and put 100 in their pocket. They heard a lot about the boy, but they don't know that Wappo.
I set the attack to about 16 milliseconds to give it a second, the initial kick and stuff like that, to be able to get through, and then it'll clamp down, and then release on 100 milliseconds. Yeah, this is going to be on 0.3, and true peak limiting's on modern, and let's hear what that sounds like on and off.
The profit, we don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping. Got that bitch out here Nicki Minaj.
Just like the final wall limiter, right? And then of course we have our insight here to check levels, and I'll turn the beat back on, and we'll go ahead and listen to what this sounds like off and on.
The profit, we don't got no time to tend to these problems. I need my hoe sucking and slapping. Got that bitch out here Nicki Minajin'. Bring up the facts, they take them and chop them. They don't know that I went out here and put 100 in their pocket. They heard a lot about the boy, but they don't know that Wappo really is a fucking monster. They steaming up steak and lobster. I'm rolling around like a mobster. They mad at the white boy going hard, but they can't even fucking knock it. I heard the streets is fucking talking, but they sleep like they took some boxing. If they
So that is how you mix and master a hard trap song like this. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to check out this Pro Tools mixing template, you can find it at mixedbyeddieofficial.com. Again, it'll be in a link in the description below. You can go check that out. I also have preset packs, and you can get mix and masters from me. So go check that stuff out. And I will see you guys on the next video. I appreciate you guys for watching. Peace out.